prosecute,
起訴する、遂行する。
prosecute. The government will prosecute those who avoid taxes. The government will prosecute those who avoid taxes. Conspicuous,
目立つ、顕著な。
conspicuous. The bright colors make the flowers conspicuous. The bright colors make the flowers conspicuous. Illustrate,
説明する、図解する。
illustrate. The chart illustrates the company's annual growth. The chart illustrates the company's annual growth. Convene,
招集する。
convene. They decided to convene a meeting to discuss the issue. They decided to convene a meeting to discuss the issue. Huddle,
群がる、集まる。
huddle. The kids huddled together to stay warm. The kids huddled together to stay warm. Avoidance,
回避、忌避。
avoidance. Avoidance of conflict is not always the best solution. Avoidance of conflict is not always the best solution. Conserve,
保存する、保護する。
conserve. We must conserve water during the dry season. We must conserve water during the dry season. Humble,
控えめな。
humble. She remains humble despite her success. She remains humble despite her success. Susceptible,
影響を受けやすい。
susceptible. This plant is susceptible to certain types of pests. This plant is susceptible to certain types of pests. Preference,
好み、選択。
preference. His preference is for coffee over tea. His preference is for coffee over tea. Debris,
破片、瓦礫。
debris. Debris from the explosion covered the road. Debris from the explosion covered the road. Disadvantaged,
恵まれない、不利な。
disadvantaged. The organization helps disadvantaged children. The organization helps disadvantaged children. Infringe,
侵害する。
infringe. The new policy may infringe on people's rights. The new policy may infringe on people's rights. prototype,
試作品、原型、
prototype. The engineer designed a prototype for the new machine. The engineer designed a prototype for the new machine. Filthy,
汚い、不潔な、
filthy. The air in the factory was filthy and hard to breathe. The air in the factory was filthy and hard to breathe. Warrant,
令状、保証書、
warrant. The police had a warrant to search his house. The police had a warrant to search his house. Fragrance,
香り、
fragrance. The fragrance of roses filled the garden. The fragrance of roses filled the garden. Immovable,
動かない、不変の、
immovable. The furniture is too heavy and immovable. The furniture is too heavy and immovable. Capsize,
転覆する、
capsize. The boat capsized during the storm. The boat capsized during the storm. Revelation,
掲示、発見、
revelation. Her discovery was a revelation to the scientific community. Her discovery was a revelation to the scientific community. Initial,
最初の、初期の、
initial. He made an initial effort to learn the basics. He made an initial effort to learn the basics. Heritage,
遺産、伝統、
heritage. This painting is part of our cultural heritage. This painting is part of our cultural heritage. Knowledgeable,
博識な、
knowledgeable. He is very knowledgeable about world history. He is very knowledgeable about world history. Rite,
儀式、
rite. The priest conducted the wedding rite. The priest conducted the wedding rite. Confession,
告白、懺悔、
confession. Her confession shocked everyone in the room. Her confession shocked everyone in the room. Dehydration,
脱水症状、乾燥、
dehydration. Dehydration can cause serious health issues. Dehydration can cause serious health issues. Moisture,
湿気、水分、
Moisture. The air was full of moisture after the rain. The air was full of moisture after the rain. Creditor.
債権者。
Creditor. The creditor demanded full repayment of the loan. The creditor demanded full repayment of the loan. Auditor.
監査役。
Auditor. The auditor found several errors in the report. The auditor found several errors in the report. Crude.
粗い、未生成の。
Crude. This crude sketch gives an idea of the design. This crude sketch gives an idea of the design. Stern.
厳格な、断固とした。
Stern. Her voice was stern as she gave the instructions. Her voice was stern as she gave the instructions. Motive.
動機、目的。
Motive. The motive for the crime is still unclear. The motive for the crime is still unclear. Disorient.
混乱させる。
Disorient. I was disoriented after waking up in a strange place. I was disoriented after waking up in a strange place. Acute.
鋭い、激しい。
Acute. The patient complained of acute pain in his chest. The patient complained of acute pain in his chest. Mingle.
混ざる、交わる。
Mingle. Guests at the party began to mingle and chat. Guests at the party began to mingle and chat. Shift.
移動、変化。
Shift. There was a sudden shift in the weather. There was a sudden shift in the weather. Recess.
休み。
Recess. The students are playing in the recess. The students are playing in the recess. Underestimate.
過小評価する。
Underestimate. Don't underestimate how long the project will take. Don't underestimate how long the project will take. Outrageous.
途方もない、法外な。
Outrageous. The price is outrageous for such a small item. The price is outrageous for such a small item. Distress.
苦悩、心痛。
Distress. She felt great distress after hearing the news. She felt great distress after hearing the news. Betray.
裏切る、背く。
Betray. He betrayed his best friend by sharing his secret. He betrayed his best friend by sharing his secret. Numerous.
たくさんの。
Numerous. There were numerous complaints about the service. There were numerous complaints about the service. Deficit.
不足、赤字。
Deficit. Company is operating at a deficit this year. Company is operating at a deficit this year. Sluggish.
鈍い、呪い。
Sluggish. Her movements were sluggish after a long day. Her movements were sluggish after a long day. Restrain.
抑制する、静止する。
Restrain. Parents need to restrain their children from running in the street. Parents need to restrain their children from running in the street. Discourage.
落胆させる、阻止する。
Discourage. I don't want to discourage you from following your dream. I don't want to discourage you from following your dream. Conceivable.
考えられる、想像しうる。
Conceivable. It's conceivable that we might finish earlier than expected. It's conceivable that we might finish earlier than expected. Outlive.
長生きする、生き延びる。
Outlive. Many trees outlive humans by hundreds of years. Many trees outlive humans by hundreds of years. Glimpse.
ちらりと見ること、一別。
Glimpse. She caught a glimpse of her favorite actor at the event. She caught a glimpse of her favorite actor at the event. Diplomat.
外交官。
Diplomat. The diplomat worked to resolve the conflict peacefully. The diplomat worked to resolve the conflict peacefully.